Good morning and welcome to Math 251. I'm just going to make this quick video to help kind of walk through what what to expect and to try to calm you a little bit, because I think at first glance this course can look a little overwhelming, but don't worry. This is the first time I'm teaching this course as well. I will be completing all of the assignments alongside you. So if there's something that's fishy or weird, we'll be able to take care of it in real time. So when you go into your course and you see we're on the home screen, I don't know if I'm a big fan of this home screen, but that's fine. What I do like about this is that the announcements are right there. So one thing that I want to just make sure that you work with here is you always read the announcements. That is where I'm going to put anything of importance. So anytime there's a new announcement, please go ahead and check that out. So we're going to jump in, read the syllabus. It's all there, whatever. But I want to jump into the modules so that we can really get a sense for what's happening. So this first module, resources, feel free to peruse this on your own. No problem there. Next, I have random help. So if you just have some just general questions, this is not necessarily Math 251 related, it's just courses in general, feel free to take a look. I really want to jump into the actual modules. So this is an 8-week class. We have 8 modules. Easy enough to figure out. The overwhelming anxiety might come in when you look at the length of these modules. So you have here the introduction. So these introductions are basically just going to tell you what's happening. So what we're covering in this module, nothing too exciting here, but it tells you a little bit of what's due. Okay, so one thing that I want to point out is there are a couple of discussion boards. These are not like super intense. There's no right or wrong answer. It's really kind of a way for me to gather information. So they should take you like less than 3 minutes. You do a little check-in, you get some easy points. Great. Now, the most of our homework is done in Alta. Alta is the online software. That's also where we'll be taking our exams. Now, there are quite a few Alta assignments in this course. And when I say quite a few, we're talking like 60, maybe over an 8-week span, which seems like a lot, and maybe it is. I don't know. So this first module, you have 18 assignments. And that seems like a lot, except they're broken down. So with Alta, I can break things down a lot of different ways. And I have decided in this course that I want most assignments to be like 1 or 2 objectives, meaning there are some assignments that are going to take you 3 minutes. Some might take you 40. It just depends on the topic and how much you understand or you're working with it. And so because especially we get to a module later on that has like 20 some assignments in it, most of those have just one objective because the content builds, and I didn't want to put them all together because then they intersperse and you might get like a level 4 question before you've done a level 1 question, which doesn't make any sense. So I've broken them down to go in order. So you have like level 1, when you finish that you go to level 2, you go to level 3, right? So it kind of builds, and so that's the idea and why there are so many. Again, I'm going to start doing this homework today. So if I find something that I'm like, ooh, I don't really like this, I will take it out. So my goal is to be ahead of you a little bit so I can take things out if I find something that doesn't meet what I want. But I feel pretty good about things. I built it, I went through, I cut things out, I feel good about it. Now, the other thing that we have is we have Excel assignments. So part of the course here is dealing with, a statistical technology, and Excel is a free one. So if you don't have Excel through Ivy Tech, you can download Excel on your computer for free. And I wanted to use something that was free for everybody, right? So you didn't have to buy a calculator. You didn't have to buy some other statistical package. We could just use Excel. So with that, there are a number of Excel assignments throughout the course. So the ones that are in the first half, so in modules 1, 2, and 3, all of those Excel assignments are due the day of the midterm, which is July 2nd. So while there are 3 Excel assignments in the first module, if you don't get to them in the first module, that's fine. You have a few more weeks. So I've kind of spread those out a little bit. I assigned them in the module where they pertain to, so where the topic was introduced. I have help videos for all of the Excel assignments, so you can watch those and kind of help you figure things out. and I will drop 2 of the lowest Excel assignments. So if you get into one of the Excel assignments and you're like, I have no idea, I don't have the bandwidth for this, great. You can like choose to not do it. So you have 2 kind of free passes on the Excels throughout. So that's kind of the big gist with the introduction, just kind of gives you an idea of what's coming in that particular module. Now back to module 1, so you can see the Intro to Math 251. It has like the 2 little clouds there next to it, the bubbles. That's your discussion board. And then anything with numbers in front of it. So samples and parameters, statistical study design, sampling, errors, and bias. All of these things with numbers, those are the 3 numbers. Those are the ALTA assignments. And then anything with just a number in front of it, 1 represents the module that you're in, and then these are the 3 Excel assignments. So when you first go into ALTA, because of IB Text, it already takes care of it. You aren't going to have to worry about anything. So if you scroll to the bottom, you see that this has one objective: understand the definitions of population, sampling, statistic, parameter, and data. That is all this is about. So when you hit start, you are going to start with some instruction. So either a video or a text piece. So if this is new for you, if you don't know what this information is, it might be worth like jotting some notes down or figuring things out. If you're like, I've taken statistics before, I know what all of this means, great. Then hit continue and move through. And then you're going to answer your questions. Now, Alta is an adaptive platform. If you've never used it, so if you get a bunch of questions wrong in a row, your assignment's going to get longer because the goal is for you to learn and master the content. Whereas if you know this material or it's pretty easy for you and you get 4 or 5 questions right in a row, then you're probably going to be done. So it's going to depend. Your assignments are going to change and alter depending on your knowledge of the content coming in, which is why it might be helpful to take some time on that instruction to start, because that's going to kind of help you work through and understand the content. The other thing that I want to point out and throw out right here at the beginning is that for the midterm covers all the content in modules 1, 2, and 3. You have the ability to create your own formula sheet. So I'm not providing it, I'm letting you do it, but the formula sheet can be an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, one-sided. And you can put whatever you want on there. So as you're going through the questions, the content, if you find a particular formula that you're like, I'm never going to remember this formula, jot it down. Like start creating your formula sheet. You can always rewrite it later because you will have to submit that before the midterm. You get points for that, for creating your formula sheet. But it's good to kind of, as you're going, kind of keep track of what's important. You can put anything you want on there. Definitions, formulas, whole problems, whatever you want. But back to Alta, you'll notice at the bottom it says more instruction. So at any point in time, if you have a question and you hit more instruction, this is going to take you again to either a video or a text piece. Okay, so you can kind of go through and then you have more questions. So it's really important that you just kind of work through things as you go. So I'm going to go back to the module. So that's what your Alta assignments look like. You don't have to finish one before you go to the next. So at any point in time, you can be like, okay, moving on. And you can kind of try things out. If you are struggling on one, maybe you take a break from that, send me an email, move on to the next one. I can see all of your content on the back end because I'm the instructor. And so I can go in and kind of give you tips. So since in this case we have, there are not 18. Ooh, I counted wrong. They're not 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10. I need to fix that. 18 sounded like a lot. I was a little nervous, but 10's much better. But then, okay, so as we go through, you can see module 2 is smaller. Module 3 is another decent size one. And then module 4 is just the midterm. Now we get together on Monday for our first live session. We'll go through more things in more details, and we'll kind of go from there. Okay, but if you have any questions, please let me know, and yeah, we'll kind of go from there. But that's the big thing. The Zoom tab here on the side is where you'll see the link for the live session. I'm not going to click on that because I forgot to do that already, but that's fine. I'll do that next. You'll always be updated in the grades, read the syllabus, and if you click on the calendar, it will show you the due dates. So you can see that I make everything due on Mondays. So our first live class is the 5th, and then I give you a full week, but I want Monday because we have class on Monday. So if you have a question on anything, we can always talk about it in the live class and then you can finish it out before it's due that day. The only difference is when it comes to exams. So like module 4 is due on Sunday because that's the end of that week. And then module 8, which is the end, is also due on the 30th. So you'll notice you see these 1, 2s, and 3s that are here on the 2nd. Those are the Excel assignments. So I mentioned the Excel assignments are due the day of the midterm, and then the second half Excel assignments are due the day of the final. Again, we'll talk all about this live so you can ask questions as we go, but I wanted to kind of give you just an idea of what's happening so that you can, hit the ground running whenever you're ready and knock it out of the park. So again, if you have questions, send me an email. Otherwise, I will see you on Monday.